welcome back to another episode of Dauntless Outdoors. Got some APs, small snapper, and got a black grouper. That's what I'm talking about. It's like 16 pounds gutted. But yeah, I'm about to go get a 100-pound cubera. So that's Mirko. That's Mark. We got Troy back there. So we're hopefully gonna shoot some nice fish. We've already dove like 2 or 3 spots, so I'll catch you in the water. How's it going, y'all? I just hopped in the water, did a couple warm-up drops, and I wasn't seeing that much in the shallower range, but I knew a little bit deeper there were some African pompano staged above this wreck. So I decided it was time to go down and actually hunt for some of those guys. And as I'm getting down here to about the 95-foot mark, I spot a couple nice African pompano. They're kind of paired up, swimming away, and I slowly follow them. And once I get that shot that I really liked and I knew that fish wasn't going to pull off, I decided to take it and head on up to the surface with my first fish of the day. AP. So I got to the surface, I was pulling this fish up to me, and as you can tell, those sharks were pretty riled up. Nothing too crazy. They weren't getting really close, but definitely a little more active than usual. So still kind of cool to see. After I got that fish in the boat, I knew there was at least one more of them down there, just because there was a pair of them, and I shot only one of them. So I decided it was time to go back down. I think I spent about 7 minutes on the surface, breathing up, getting all warmed up, and head back down here. I'm in around 95 foot, maybe towards the 100-foot mark, but kind of flattened out. Noticed there was a pair of them tied, and slowly just started headed towards them. Didn't want to spook them off. That's typically the way I'll hunt African pompano. A little bit of grunting and just super slowly heading towards the fish. So I head on over there, take that shot. I knew it wasn't going to pull off. About the same shot as the last one, and headed up to the surface. Yeah. I'm good. AP.
Attaboy, Josh.
I just landed my second African pompano of the day, and unfortunately I wasn't seeing any more of them. So I decided it was time to go after American red snapper. These are our second go-to, just because AJs are out of season, and American reds are honestly relatively easy to shoot in this area. You only have to go to around 70 to 80 foot typically to get a shot on one. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sitting around 70 foot, doing a little bit of grunting, nothing too over the top, and I'm just waiting for one that gives me an easier shot, and I kind of like my chances. So I spot a pair of them. The one gives me a better shot than the other guy. Take that shot. It was a pretty low percentile shot and ended up missing. Kind of expected. Just as they are. I ended up missing that fish, and I decided I was going to do a couple more drops here. I head back down. I'm a little more on top of the wreck now, and I knew I'd bump into at least one of them that was of pretty good size. So I get down here, doing a little bit of just scouting, looking around, and I spot a couple that aren't too bad. Just waiting for one that's going to give me like a really easy shot, just because I missed the last one. And on this dive, I think I ended up going to 106 foot at the deepest. So I started heading up, and one of them followed me, so I decided I was going to take the shot. Take that shot. I knew it was a really good holding shot, so I could pull relatively hard, but these fish fight a very solid amount. So as I'm heading up to the surface, I'm giving them a little bit of reel line, and as you can see, they take action. Start pulling on that fish, helping me fight it up. Mirko hands me his gun, and as I'm kind of breathing up to do like a little help here, help get my fish up, once I see this fish coming up, I see that there's a shark right under it, and I'll show you what I do here in just a second. I notice that fish is probably going to get ate if I don't go down, so I go down as quick as I can, hopefully to poke these sharks off and make sure I actually secure this fish. And as you can tell, that's a relatively hot shark. He's moving around a lot. Luckily, that fish kind of was evading him and allowed me to land him instead of the shark. So ended up landing a nice snapper. So right after that, Mark went down. He shot another American red, and unfortunately, he got sharked. That shark came in pretty hot before any of us could actually get down to the fish, and it took off with the fish and the shaft. So that was kind of unfortunate. He shoots an Alamani gun, which if you don't know what that is, it's about a $4,000 gun. So the shaft alone was like $300. But we moved on. We are now in about 150 foot of water, and I did one dive before this, and I saw a black grouper sitting on top of this tower. So I decided I was going to go down and hopefully bump into it, but unfortunately I didn't see it sitting on top, so I was kind of bummed out about it. Looking around, hoping to see it, and I think I'm around 115, 120 here. And I look over, spot one of the black grouper, and as I'm lining up on this fish, I look down and I see another black grouper that's even bigger. So I passed on the first one. I go to take that shot, and then I realized I was not going to land that fish at all if I took this shot. Right now, I'm sitting at 130 foot. I look around that corner. I could have taken the shot, but I really knew I was not going to have a shot at all at landing that fish. And my plan was to go to the surface, breathe up really nicely, and once I got a good breathe up, I was going to throw a flasher to where it would sink outside of the tower and give me an actual shot on the fish so he wasn't going to be stuck in the structure. So as soon as I get to the surface, I kind of relay my plan to the back divers, which is Mirko and Troy. They were helping me out. They were being really nice, actually being a really good buddy here. But told them my plan, and you'll see what happens from there.
Disappeared.
Yep. I could have shot him. There's 0% chance I could have landed him.
Yeah, what were you at there?
130.
Wow.
So I threw my flasher. I was all prepared. I think I spent about 12 minutes breathing up back on the surface, and I head back down. By the way, that last dive was, I think, 2 minutes and 12 seconds or 2:15, something like that. But definitely a pretty long one for being at 130 foot. So I threw that flasher. I'm now heading down, hoping to see that my plan actually worked and hoping my flasher didn't sink too deep. Just because when you're letting a little piece of plastic sink to 120 foot plus, it's kind of hard to time it and make sure it actually hits at the right time. But as you'll see, I'm getting down here. I can see the outline of the ship, and I see my flasher sinking down, and both those black grouper are right there. A Goliath is about to eat the flasher, but I didn't really care about that. I was more focused on getting a good shot on the bigger of these two black grouper. The one right here gives me a really easy shot. I knew I had to take it. He was off the tower, and I didn't think I was going to get another chance. So I take that shot. He freaks out. He doesn't go into the tower, luckily, and I didn't have to do any backdrops. And as I'm swimming up, you'll see those Goliath groupers start following that fish up, trying to eat it and take it back down to the bottom. Luckily, I got very lucky, and this fish just didn't get eaten. I think it was probably because my shaft was sticking so far out the other side that they just couldn't grab a hold of it. But I saw him turn down, and I knew I had landed this fish. That shot was clean through him, and I had a couple buddy divers on the surface, so even if it were to pull off or something like that, they were going to give me a backup.
Woo! Good beast. Nice job, dude. You smoked him too. You stoned him?
I just smacked him through the cheek, and he just sat there and spun in circles.
Grab your fish, dude, here. Hell yeah.
So I landed that fish. I was super stoked. I hadn't really shot one of those over here before. I've shot some small ones, but they were hardly even legal. They were like 25 inches, so it's like not really that big of a grouper. But Troy did a bottom drop, not all the way down. I think he went to like 125 or something like that, and he didn't see anything. So we decided it was time to head in, and now we're on about 80 foot or so, looking around for some mangrove snapper. As you can tell, there's actually some pretty decent ones, but I was being a little bit too picky and kind of passed on some of the decent sized ones, so ended up missing my opportunity there. So I went back down, and as I'm getting down here, I was in the same area. The viz wasn't as good, so it was a little bit harder to find out exactly where these fish were. But I knew if I sat on the other side of this ledge and kind of just grunted, one of them was going to swim by and give me a pretty good shot. I saw the one I liked, didn't chase him. He turned around, gave me a really easy shot, took that shot, and what I did fail to do was keep tension on my line. That fish swam right into a little hole and ended up getting stuck. Troy had to go back down and help me out, but ended up landing him. Just got back to the dock. Really good grip on that mangrove. Just put them on the table. You can take them from there. Uh-oh! Black grouper!
Yeah.
Let's go!
120 foot shot.
One. I'm still recording.
What I want you to do is from up there, like by the fish. You scared that thing out of the water. Watch out. Here we go, coming behind you. He got it, like really through the water. He got it. Wow. Well, this is what we do on our off days. Move furniture and then move fish.
Into the sunrise. Here we go. I think that is number 3. Pretty good. Pretty good fish.
Is this one down?
Yeah.
This is one of the shot, so. That's the shot one. That deserves that. One more shot. Oh, yeah, that there. That's a good AP.
Let's go.
Wait, be careful, these things are super slippery. This guy, what fish is that? African pompano? Pompano?
They'll have it fresh to eat right over there soon.
That's the last one. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.